If you guys want to stop feeling like you're guessing on your trading, right? You want to start trading with confidence and knowing that when you're entering, you're doing so at a spot that makes sense. The main thing you guys need to be doing is you need to be journaling every single trade that you take. It doesn't matter the format, but you need to find a consistent way to jot down as much information about every trade so that you can learn about what you're doing wrong and start to fix those errors that you make and ultimately trading with confidence. Today, I'm going to show you guys how I journal my trades. This is a template that I have started with, and over the last 2 years, I have made a lot of changes, updates. I've made a lot of progress on this trading template and the process in which I track the markets, I show up, and how I do things. This is only done through hundreds and hundreds and thousands of trades of repetition. And for me, all of mine is documented. I can see it from the day that I started up until now. So it's super cool. I use a digital journal. There's no one way that you guys need to journal. It can be digital, it can be a physical notebook, but whatever it is that works for you, you just have to be consistent. I've seen people use Excel spreadsheets. You can use websites like Tradezilla. But it's ultimately just comes down to what can you consistently show up and do that's not really burning you out. Let's talk about what trading isn't, right? Trading isn't about winning. It's about learning from your trades, trade after trade. It's about spotting patterns and about eliminating your mistakes, right? Those little things that add up, right? So trading and journaling those trades, by paying attention when you're journaling your trades, you will slowly pick up on patterns that you have as an individual when it comes to entering and trading in the market. You'll pick up on maybe there's a section on confidence, and maybe you notice that a lot of the time on the later part of the week after you've made some money, you start to lose confidence and you're scared to trade, but you do anyway, and you end up giving those profits back. That is a little habit that you can pick up on by journaling consistently and go, I'm going to stop trading on Fridays. And all of a sudden every week, now I'm ending the week profitable 2, 3, 4, 5% of my account. And instead of losing all of it on a Friday, now I'm starting to make 5, 10, 15% of my account every single month because I've eliminated trading, right? So journaling your trades is huge. It is absolutely life and career changing in trading. A lot of people just feel like they kind of use it as data collection, right? They're like, oh, well, I'm just collecting data. No, you're learning about yourself and your habits. You're tracking this down, and that is the most important and crucial thing you can do to continue day to day, week to week, and month to month to make those tiny improvements to just claw your way up. And after a couple of months, 6 months, a year, year and a half, 2 years, however long, you will notice the gains are absolutely incredible. And then you'll see other people who aren't journaling. They're just taking trades and they're like, oh, well, I know what I'm looking for, but I don't journal it. I don't do any of that. They don't have that data to look back at. They don't have those behavioral patterns to look back at like you do. And it is so much more beneficial. So make sure you guys are journaling every single trade that you take in the markets. There's a few different questions that journaling answers that when people don't journal, they don't have an answer to these questions, right? The first one's going to be, why did I take this trade, right? There's a lot more to it than just one or two things. A lot of the time, people are looking for 3, 4, 5 things, confluences, and this is very, very clear and controls that. So it answers that question right off the rip. The second one is, was my strategy working, right? You can look back and say, over the last month, 2 months, 3 months, 6 months, I've taken X amount of trades, right, using this strategy, this fair value gap, this supply and demand setup, right? All of these things you can look back at, and you have that data to see, I've been winning on this time frame during these hours on these assets, and I tend to do very well on these, right? So that's helped me a lot personally figure out like what assets work best for my behavioral patterns and also for my life schedule, depending on the time zone that I'm living and trading in day to day. Something that I've recently added to my journal was a confident or hesitant section, right? Where I really go deep on, am I hesitant? Am I confident? Why, right? Am I following my plan? And even it's been very helpful for me personally to look back at and see that a lot of the times maybe I was hesitant to take this trade, but I ended up winning. And why did I win? So now I can go back and study, why did I win? All of my bias, all of my alignment, all of my strategy was lining up, but I was still hesitant. Was that because I'd made money and I didn't want to give it back? Was that because news? Was that because I knew that I wouldn't be around the charts because my job gets busy or I can't have my phone on me and so I'm not able to manage? Why am I feeling this way? And putting that section in there for me has been absolutely crucial to understanding myself mentally, kind of studying myself as looking at myself more as a student, but also kind of like looking at it from a different angle, right? So it's huge for me. That is something I recommend for every person, is that hesitant or confident section. And I'll show you guys that here in a second on my personal template that I've created. All right, so section 2, what do I include in my trade journal? I include a ton of data. I always have, I'm always going to. It's just something that's ingrained in who I am. All right, so just some of the stuff like off the top of my head: date and time, symbol, time frame, entry, exit price, which usually those are always pretty much the same, so it's a given. Position size, so risk management, like am I risking a certain percentage of the allotted risk for the chart? How am I doing that? So for me, certain setups have certain amount of criteria as to how much the risk can be, as not to tear apart my account. Trade rationale, right? So why am I entering? I have a bunch of different confluences that I check off like a checkbox to be like, okay, cool, kind of what strategy, because I can do a lot of different stuff. What strategy am I utilizing with this trade? And then I can kind of track like which strategies are working better than others with what risk. Emotions and thoughts, already covered that. That's a huge one. And then outcome and lessons learned. That's huge. I added that. That's something that I added because it's part of my job. And I used part of my job knowledge and how we do things there to implement that section into my trade journal to make improvements after a trade is done, and also including like trade management. Did I manage well? Did I mismanage? Why? Emotions, timing, life, what involved? Was I prepared? Was I not prepared? Did I have a bias that I thought, oh, well, it's probably going to be fundamentally strong USD news, so I'm just going to start, trading as if that news is going to come out in a few hours and it's going to go my way, right? All of these little things matter, and those sections of your journals can save you so much time. Okay, so I've pulled up my trading journal for you guys to kind of get an inside look. I'll give you an example. This is the last trade that I've taken, and this is going to show you just how I operate as a trader. This is something I've done for 2 years consistently. I've got all kinds of screenshots and data and all this collection, right? So it's super important for you to figure out what works for you. This works for me. I'm super analytical. I like to track a lot of data that I find relevant to me, right? So let's go over this. I know there's people that use Google Sheets for logging trades. You can do trading view screenshots. They'll leave up the whole risk to reward ratio tool on trades they've taken on TradingView, and you can just see all their trades, buy, sell, whatever. You can see it on the history of the chart, which is totally fine, right? I visually mark my MT5 charts with arrows and certain things so I can see where I've been involved on the chart over time. And it really helps me see where I'm getting involved and where I can kind of become close-minded or where I start to give up on trades. So those visual cues are absolutely clutch, right? So for me, like I said, I use Telegram. This is my journal, my template, okay? I'm going to go over, this is where I just copy and paste it from my notepad right here, and I drop it with a screenshot in here on Telegram. This is a screenshot, right? So let's just go over this real quick. This was a sell on December 18th on GBP JPY. It was an H4 view. I've got the time I entered, GMT and my central time zone, the price, just a few basic things here to kind of like gauge my mind, and then I'll go more into specifics. I've got the setup grade, kind of how I grade it, A+, A-, B+, B-, C, whatever, how I grade that. Am I trading my plan, right? Have I planned for this? Have I thought about this ahead of time? Yes. Confident or hesitant section. I've talked about this earlier. This is huge. I recently added this. I had something a little bit more different, but I liked when I changed it up to the confident or hesitant versus what it used to be called. And it's really helped me kind of get a lot of that feeling out onto my journal to really help me understand myself a lot better. So tweaking this journal template has helped me a lot. Was this a counter trend trade? Was it a ranged market? How much did I risk? What did structure look like at my area of interest? If I zoom out to a daily chart, what does the daily chart look like? That's huge, right? What are my confluences? I've got all of these that I always say yes or no to. Kind of what am I looking at? My pip gain and loss, my percentage gain and loss, the management of my trade. How did I manage? Was there any other pertinent information that I'm not tracking? I would throw that in here. And then lessons learned. Is something, again, like I said, I threw in there from my job. Lessons learned. What did I learn? Whether I win or lost, did I learn something about myself or about the trade, right? So this is huge. So I track all of this every single week for every single trade, right? I do a lot more than just the trades, right? I will drop voice memos. I will drop screen recordings of my computer going over the charts of, to me, what makes the most sense moving forward, looking at news, looking at structure, certain levels, and how I want to operate as a trader if certain criteria are met. That also gives me time to set alerts at key levels and prices that matter to me, that I determine I will get involved or at least start paying attention to the charts if these alerts get triggered, if these levels start getting tapped into. What is my plan? Now I can execute, right? Putting a good description on that alert, so when it goes off and I've got my phone and I'm not at my computer, I'm at work or something, I can know, oh hey, AUD USD got hit at this sweeping last week's high. It's hitting this certain level I want to hit. My sell is about to get triggered, a pending sell, or I'm telling myself manually enter now, and I'll open up my phone real quick, manually sell. And I'm good because I've planned this out the night prior or hours prior. I've set the alerts. I've done my due diligence. And that has taken me such a long way in trading. It is crazy. People underutilize alerts, the power of alerts and the power of pendings has really changed my trading this year in year 2. Pendings has taken me a long way. I have caught in some absolutely banger trades off pendings that I normally would have been hesitant to take, but I had to be there for them in year 1, right? So that's huge, learning to be more versatile in the charts there. Lastly, I want to talk about trading without a journal and what that is like. I've seen it with plenty of people. I've talked to a lot of people in my specific community, and I know these people are not journaling. I know they don't want to do it. It's hard. I get it. It's hard. It can seem annoying. It can feel like, oh, I'm just copying and pasting all this information. Bro, it is not. You are driving blindfolded if you're not journaling your trades. You're not covering the market, right? You're not on top of that. You're not playing that defensive posture, covering the market wherever it's going. And dude, that market's going to get exhausted. It does not want people journaling. It does not want people who know what they're doing, who are calculated, who are consistent, who are covering the market at all times of the week. They want people who aren't journaling their trades. They want people who are just going to fling entries in there and hope and pray and wish that their trade gets hit and they make money. You can't operate. If you're going to make money, you have to treat this like you're a professional trader, a professional athlete, a professional at whatever you do. A lot of the times I correlate it to what you do outside of trading. If you're a professional at your job, you need to treat this the same way how you would treat your job. You have to approach it the same way. You can't just come in here and disrespect the markets and think that you can just half-ass your journal, half-ass your plan, and make money. Dude, that's not how it works. There are people that get away with not journaling, but they have had years and years and years perfecting exactly how they operate, and they do everything the exact same way, so they can get away with it for that reason. But you are only making it harder on yourself if you're not journaling these trades every single time and every single day. It is crucial. That's pretty much it, guys. That kind of covers everything thought-wise on journal for me. I appreciate you guys spending the time watching this. Please, if you could hit the like button, subscribe if you want more similar content, and don't forget to journal your trades.